Hey, it's Yay for Yarn, and today I'm going to show you how to invisibly join around with the invisible slip stitch and the chainless starting stitch. So let's get started. So here I have a little swatch worked in the round, and this is the normal turning chain and slip stitch in the top of the turning chain type of round join. This leaves a very conspicuous line or ridge of turning chains going up your work. So here I've got some double crochet, half double crochet, and single crochet, and no matter what stitch you do it in, this always leaves a visible end of the round. And especially if you're working in the round in one direction, the turning chain line just slants up to the right a little bit, and it's very obvious, where the end of the round was. So I'm going to show you a method that eliminates this line of turning chains, where the join, where the beginning and end of the round meet, is almost completely invisible. So I'm going to start with the chain, and I'm going to slip stitch the end of the chain together so that we have a loop. And for comparison's sake, I'm going to basically work the exact same swatch I did here, but with the invisible slip stitch and chainless starting stitch method. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to start with double crochet. So first we're going to start by working a chainless starting double crochet. So this is basically a replacement for that turning chain that you would normally have to work to get up to the correct height for a double crochet. So instead of chaining 3 and making a turning chain, we're going to do the chainless starting double crochet. So what you need to do is stretch the loop on your hook until it's just a little bit taller than your ordinary double crochet for whatever gauge you're using. You're going to hold on with your fingertip to the yarn that's running across the back of your hook. Kind of pinch it together if you want to, but I'm just going to use one finger. And instead of yarning over with the yarn that you're working with, you're going to yarn over this loop right here. So I'm going to bring the hook forward. I'm holding on to the yarn that's across the top. Bring the hook forward and underneath to yarn over. And then I'm going to insert into the same stitch that I was just in. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through that first loop. And this doubled strand of yarn that runs across the middle, that's the yarn over that we did through that loop, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. So that creates what we call a chainless starting double crochet, which is visually identical to a regular double crochet. So as you can see, the top of this loop here is a little bit loose, but that's okay, that's what we want. We're going to fix that when we get around to the other end of the round. So I'm just going to double crochet in each of my chains around until I get back around, so then I can show you how to join the round. So I'm now back around to the beginning of the round. I've got 1 chain left to work into. So I worked into that. So I've worked in every single chain across my foundation chain. So instead of inserting into the top of this chainless starting double crochet, we're going to do the invisible slip stitch. So normally for a slip stitch, we would insert the hook into the top 2 loops of the stitch from front to back. And as you can see, those loops kind of go like that. They kind of split and come around like that because of that chainless starting double crochet. But when you insert into them, they're the perfect, the loops are the perfect size to match the rest of the double crochets. So instead of inserting from front to back like this, we're going to stretch the loop on the hook out, give it some slack. I'm going to take the hook out of that loop. I'm going to bring it to the back of the work. Now you don't want to do this with your yarn laying forward. You want the yarn to be behind the work and out of the way. You're going to take that hook and insert it from back to front in both of those loops. Then you're just going to take that stretched out loop, put it around the hook, and hook it, pull it through that stitch. So now as you can see, that join is almost completely invisible. And even though we have this stretched out loop here now, that's okay, because we're going to use that. We can adjust it by pulling on the yarn or by stretching it out further. And we're going to stretch it out again to slightly longer than a double crochet is tall and work another chainless starting double crochet. So I'm going to again hold on to the yarn that's across the back of my hook, yarn over with that loop, that long loop, bring the hook forward. This will be kind of a little bit snug, but that's okay. You want to bring the hook forward and insert into the top of that same stitch. that your yarn is coming out of, that top of that chainless starting double crochet from the row below, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through that first loop that you just created and the long loop that was wrapped around your hook, and then yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops. So we have another chainless starting double crochet. We can double crochet all the way around. And now I'm going to come back to the beginning of the round here where we would normally slip stitch. And again, I'm going to stretch the loop on my hook so that it doesn't come apart. I'm going to take the hook out, insert into the top 2 strands of that chainless starting double crochet from the beginning of the row, bring that loop around and catch it with the hook, pull it through, and I like to pull it through because we're pulling it through from front to back. I like to pull it through with the hook facing to my left. If you're a lefty, then you would want it facing to the right, but you're going to pull it through from front to back. So that's how it looks when you do this technique with a double crochet, and it is almost completely invisible. You would have to look really hard to find where the end of the round was if you were looking at a finished project. So I'm going to show you a half double crochet now. This is the chainless starting half double crochet. Again, I'm going to stretch my loop until it's just a little bit longer than the half double crochet is tall. Hang on to the yarn that goes across the back. I'm going to yarn over with that stretched out loop, insert into the same stitch, the top of the chainless starting stitch from the row below, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through the first loop, the wrap that went around the needle, and that loop that's on the hook, which is going to twist. So what you need to do, because this will twist and unwind, is you need to put a stitch marker in this to hold it to the back. So I've got a stitch marker here that I'm going to insert into the 2 loops of my chainless starting half double crochet like that. And I'm going to close it. If your stitch marker doesn't close, it doesn't have to, so that's okay. But that will hold that loop to that side so that it doesn't untwist like that and come undone. So I'm going to hold it to the other direction. So I'm going to keep half double crocheting around. Alright, so we're back around. That was the last half double crochet. So now I can insert my hook into the top of that chainless starting half double crochet. So I'm going to pull on that and hang on to it, just pinch it. Make sure that that loop on your hook is all stretched out so it doesn't come unraveled and you can let go of it. And I'm going to remove the stitch marker. And again, make sure the yarn is behind. Insert into those 2 strands from back to front. Grab that stretched out loop and pull it through from front to back. So there's the invisible slip stitch work with a half double crochet. I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to stretch out the loop until it's almost as tall as a half double crochet. Yarn over with that loop and then insert into the top of that half double crochet from the row below, the chainless starting half double crochet. And then if you want to, you can also take your stitch marker right now, hang on to that yarn over, and then just pull it back around to the other side so that when you pull through and when you get back around, it's already held. So I'm just going to half double crochet around again. Alright, and then again I'm going to stretch the loop on my hook, bring the yarn to the back so that it's out of the way, pinch that loop, that is the top of the chainless starting half double, pull the stitch marker out, insert from back to front, and this is really the only tricky part, is inserting it correctly so you don't split your yarn, and then catch that loop and pull it through from front to back. So that's what it looks like with a half double crochet, and again it is almost completely invisible. So now we're going to work a couple rows of single crochet. So for single crochet normally you would just chain 1, but instead of chaining 1, and because this stitch does not require a yarn over, I'm just going to stretch the loop out just a little bit so that it's a little bit taller than a single crochet, and insert my hook into the same stitch, which is the chainless starting stitch from the row below, and work a regular single crochet like that. So now we have those 2 loops across the top that we can still invisible slip stitch into. but we did not have to chain. So I'm going to single crochet all the way around. There's my last single crochet. So now again, I'm going to just stretch the loop out on my hook, bring my yarn to the back so it's out of the way, and pick up both of those loops at the top of that single crochet, pull that stretched out loop through. So that is also almost completely invisible. So now I'm just going to bring the length of that loop down a little bit so that it's a little taller than the single crochet like normal in the same stitch. I'm going to go all the way around, and now I'm back around, so I'm going to stretch the loop on my hook, bring the yarn and the hook to the back, insert into those top 2 strands on top of the single crochet, and then catch the loop and pull it through. So all of these joins are almost completely invisible, and when you compare this side by side to the other swatch, you can see what a big difference this makes. This technique with the invisible slip stitch and the chainless starting stitch totally eliminates that turning chain ridge that goes up your project when you're working in the round. Now this technique is perfect for any project that's worked in the round where you join at the end of every round, particularly hats, especially if you want to do jogless stripes. This is perfect for that because you do not end up with the turning chain ridge that goes up the side of the hat, or if you were to work a hat in a spiral, then every time you change colors, you have a jog in your stripes. So this eliminates both of those problems. You can work in the round without any turning chain ridge and without the jog of a spiral. So I hope this video has been helpful to you. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what technique you would use this for in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, making sure you click the little bell next to the subscribe button to be notified of new videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.